This is a call to the Most High God's remnant army of warrior angels. You are being called for deployment. If you're not able to sleep, if you feel really excited and have lots of energy, even if you only slept a few hours, this is for you. If you feel like you need to be packing, but you have no clue where you're going, this is for you. If you feel like you've been activated, especially over the full moon of December 4th and 5th, meaning your hands have basically turned on with power, energy, magnetation coming from out of your palms. You're feeling like you're getting wings coming out of your back shoulder blades may be sore. This is for you. If you've been experiencing headaches between your third eye because your third eye is being activated, connected to 3-eye atlas, third eye atlas incoming, this is for you. If you're getting really excited and you're looking up and you're asking the Most High God, when, Lord? The time is now. This is for you. This video, the Most High guided me to. I apologize. I'm going to have to speed up the sound so that hopefully I don't get a copyright strike. But the song that came into my head, which was a download from Father, maybe a week and a half ago, I made a short video about it. I used the clip from the song called The Final Countdown by Europe. I used the video that the Lord had guided me to, which was a guy just playing the music. There was no singing, so that I could get the song out without a copyright. And it was a short video I made, maybe a minute long. That's when I first started being given this song. It has continued. Now Father has had me remember the song again, and I type it in this time, and I had no clue that this, when I typed it in the first time, that this was on the movie Top Gun Maverick. Father has told me that we, as warrior angels, targeted angels, chosen individuals, are Top Gun, the Most High God's Top Gun warriors. Stuck in a flesh suit right now, but we're getting our wings. Our transformation is in progress. We are being lifted up and called to combat. We are going to be battling the most high-ranking fallen angels that are at the top of the satanic cabal that is about to fall, that infiltrate all the way from our government, the Sleestack, the law enforcement, the military of this planet, Janet, that work for Satan, okay? Anyone that works for the government, anyone that works underneath the politicians, of course the politicians are all part of it, and a lot of them are fallen angels, demons, and Sleestack. But anyone that, even if they are going in to work with the military or become a police officer or whatever, and they really are trying to do good, they will not be allowed to stay in that position unless they conform and become wicked, just like the system creates. They're sworn to become Freemasons, which aren't free. The Freemasons founded Mystery Babylon, the Satanic States of America. They're Satanists. They work for Satan. Some Freemasons get into it thinking they're doing something good or they want to belong, but once they're in it, they're sworn to secrecy. We don't do that. Whatever we're spoken in private, the Lord says, speak it out in the open. We as believers, followers of the Lamb, don't hide things in darkness. The Freemasons do, because they're not free. They work for the fallen angels, and some are fallen angels who are locked down in this realm and will be going into the pit, and they know it. That's why they put free in their name, because they're not free. Whatever they say is good is bad. Scripture tells us in the end of days, Good will be considered evil and evil bad. It's here. Hello, McFly, do you hear me? So this video was brought to my attention again. And I've been up for hours, y'all, and it's almost 3:30 a.m. I have so much energy, and I've only had a half a cup of coffee. But it's Father getting me ready for this endeavor we're being called on, okay? We are being deployed into battle, spiritual battle, okay? So you have to know what's going on, know your enemy, but focus on the Most High God. Focus on above and not below. Be grateful for everything that Father has given you. If you're homeless, be grateful that He chose you. Be grateful that He's provided you food. Maybe you got some gloves given to you or some socks or something. Be grateful for any little thing He does, because we are being called up into the new, where there's a new heaven and a new earth. Three-Eye Atlas coming down is connected with Yeshua. It is Jesus' planet, okay? It's connected with the blue star, the blue Kachina. I've talked about it since at least 8 or 9 years on this channel, of the 9 years I've been on this channel, okay? It's happening now. So this video, I typed in the song, The Final Countdown, and this video showed up. And I'm like, this was on Top Gun, but it was on Top Gun Maverick, which is the newest one. I haven't seen that yet. So I had no clue. That is not a coincidence. Out of all the songs that it's on this movie, and I've said I've had multiple videos out where I've even got pictures of Tom Cruise or something with Iceman, how much we as warrior angels are connected to this movie. So the fallen angels, their wings are gone. They cannot fly again. They're grounded, okay? Literally, how when you're in trouble as a child, you're told you're grounded. They are grounded. Their wings are clipped. And that's even funny. Father just reminded me of these things that were said to me over the years that are now coming back into my memory that I forgot about since they happened. If that's happening to y'all too, this is all part of our awakening, our ascension, okay? So I woke up in 2012, but I knew something was wrong my whole life. I never fit in. I didn't go with the system ever. I never conformed, okay? But 2012 is what I call my BAM moment. So when I say we're awakening now, if you've been awake like me, mentally, now it's going to be physically. You are literally getting your wings. And I remember they told me back in junior high and high school, a couple different times, random people that I wasn't friends with said to me, you know, when people were telling me I was weird, or, you know, the teacher I was always getting in trouble and I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just making jokes and trying to, you know, spread joy. And they don't want that. They want everybody quiet, sitting in your seat, being brainwashed. And they couldn't brainwash me because I know Yeshua personally, even before I truly started following him. Okay? But a couple people said a strange comment that now Father has brought back. They're trying to clip your wings. That was told to me. And I've been told many times that I'm an angel by random people, not those close to me, because they're all part of the satanic system. You know, they were sent to keep us down, keep us on low level. Most of them that are around us, they're allowed to be around us, especially like in our, for me, a faith, you know, I'm not even going to say, but we'll just say family, because I was adopted, so not my bloodline. They are some of our worst persecutors, trying to steal because they knew that we've been gifted. So they've tried to steal it for themselves. Have y'all ever noticed that those closest to you, your family and friends, will start acting like you do and do things that you were good at, hobbies that you did, that you excelled in, become in the same kind of business or whatever career you wanted to do that you couldn't do because the system kept locked you out of it, and they're doing it. Ideas that you've had were stolen from you, and they do them and pass them off as their own. That's a sign right there. They were sent by the enemy. Some do not know what they're doing. They are completely NPCs, or they've been taken over by demons because they let hate and envy into their heart, and fear and unbelief, jealousy, unforgiveness, bitterness, all those lower level things, keep them locked down in a hell realm of sorts, to where it's always about what can I do to get what she's got and take from her what I want, right? And Father has shown me that that was all strategic. It seemed like it was for our harm, but what the enemy meant for our harm has been used for our good. If we hadn't have gone through those battles, y'all, you targeted angels, we would not be prepared for what is taking place on this earth. We would not be able to ascend because we have to go through the fiery trial, which is in 1 Peter, I think it's 4:12, the fiery trial. Beloved, think it's not strange concerning the fiery trial that is sent to test you, just like gold is purified through the fire. Okay? So it's actually a blessing. It's a blessing that we've been isolated. We've been personally tutored by the Most High God and protected from the negative energy of the enemy's camp by being isolated. So your isolation is a blessing, not a curse. Getting back to this. So I'm speeding up the song, but I'm going to share with y'all. These are dreams that I've shared over the 9 years on YouTube. Some of y'all that have been on this channel at least maybe 6 years will remember these dreams. Some of these dreams have been more recently, like in the last 3 years. Hold on a minute. Okay, so the first part, this right here, I saw this window and I was on a ship and I was under the water, and this is the exact window I saw. Okay, and I saw a whale swimming by, and I was waiting in a line, standing in a line. Okay, I was waiting in a line, and there was only, I'm going to say, about 15 people on board the ship, and it was a huge ship. And we were going up onto this platform area, which was in the ship, not above the ship, not on deck, okay? And so we were covered, literally. And I don't know, I think I was like second in line, something like that, which could be symbolic, because when I had this dream, it was at least 5-6 years ago, so I had to go through more training maybe to become first in line. But there was one other person in front of me, and I watched them stand up on this little platform inside the ship, and they were transformed into a beam of light, like their whole body turned into light. All you could see was the outline of their shape, and it was light. And then they were lifted up, like literally they went zoop up into the air. And then the same thing happened to me. So this is what this part reminds me of. Then I'm going to stop it each time there is something, and I've only watched this a couple of times. So I'm sure there's more things in it that I have not caught, but I feel that this needs to come out right now. Something is taking place right now, okay? So if you've been up like me since very early, maybe even you didn't go to sleep yesterday, or maybe you've only slept a few hours, maybe 3-4 hours, but you have energy, that's part of your thumbs up. You're being activated with your spiritual powers. We're going to be able to fly without wings. I've seen it many, many times. I've talked about it in many videos of many dreams over the years. Ever since I can remember having dreams, I would see myself flying without wings. Our wings are spiritual, okay? They're see-through, basically. They're like, what I've been shown is, Okay, you know how mother of pearl has that? They're iridescent. Thank you, Father. That's the word I was looking for. Iridescent. They're iridescent, ethereal. And they are coming out. So if your shoulders are hurting, that's what it is. The girl can't hold the smoke. That's what it is. So I'm going to start with this, and then I will stop it and tell y'all what, because this is very symbolic. They speak, the enemies that run the satanic system, that run Hollywood and do the movies and all that, they speak to each other in code through this. And there is a spiritual law that says they have to tell us, the dark side has to tell us what they're doing. But only those that have been chosen by the Most High God, that went through the fiery trial known as being targeted and gang stalked, see these things. So it's a blessing, y'all, that we've gone through this. Do y'all know how awesome that this is? That we've literally been recruited and trained by the creator of heaven and earth for this battle. Out of all the souls in the solar system, get it? Solar system. We are the ones that were chosen for this. It's just amazing, y'all. So don't feel sorry for yourself. Stop complaining about what the enemy is doing to you. Every time they come against you, this is every day for me, okay? Every time, you have the choice how you're going to react. Are you going to let the enemy's camp steal your joy, steal your peace, get you angry? Or are you going to choose to ignore? And an even higher level would be if Father tells you that they're human, attacking you, gang stalking you, doing witchcraft, all that, and they're human, to pray for them. If they are not human, we are not to pray for the fallen angels, okay? We're not to pray for demons. But that's for another video. This will be hours upon hours long. So I saw this window, and this is how the video starts. Top Gun Maverick. Here we go. Going up, right? Being lifted up. So those on the ground that are locked down are going to be muzzled up again. You can bet that's coming. The muzzling up is coming. Because why? It's symbolic. Father created us through the breath. Through his breath, he spoke the word. Okay? It's in the very beginning of the Bible how he spoke it into existence. When he breathes the breath of life, that's how we're created. They want to stifle it, to take it away. So here we go. Looking out over the waters, the firmament, the sun. The sun is a portal. We go through the sun to go home. S-O-N, as in Yeshua, Jesus Christ, is also S-U-N, the sun. I saw this window too, right here. This is symbolic of in heaven, when Father and the remnant army of angels, the arks, which some of their fleet is around us right now. If you are an ark in human form right now, I challenge you to go out your door when it's dark and look up. And if you see a bright star, and it should be directly either above your head or right over where you're staying, right is close, the one that you see first, that is one of your angelic protectors, warrior angel ships. They're on guard right now. I call them chariots of fire because that's what they are in the Bible. Ezekiel's wheels, they're like wheels upon wheels, they spin. Okay? These are an order of angels that are here, sent back here for us. Okay, so you're not alone. But they look out over a window up in heaven with Father, and that's what this symbolizes. I've seen it in many, many, many dreams, some visions, and I remember it when I was a child, y'all. I remember looking out through this thing. This right here, it goes real quick because... Oh, let me slow it down just for that part before the song starts. Did y'all see that? That's symbolic of the tree of life. Hopefully y'all saw it. It's really hard to... The tree of life, okay? Right here. And I've seen that in a dream just recently. Hold on. Got to speed it back up. This is the window of heaven. Father will open up the windows of heaven and pour us out a blessing that we cannot contain. And we go up through an opening in the sky, okay? The sun. The sun is a portal. This is the gathering. This is the few. This is the remnant army. There's very few of us, but we are extremely powerful through whose we are, through activation that's happening now to get our powers. We're going to be able to use our palms, blow back the enemy's camp with our palms. We can send fireballs out of our palms. I've seen this multiple times. Heat coming off your palms. If you raise your palms up, they are probably going to be, if they haven't already, for me, it started on the 2nd. They will be activating and they'll be what I call turning on. And I've always been able to do that where I hold my palms up, like when I used to do Reiki. I was a Reiki master, okay? And I would be able to heal people with my hands without even touching them. But I would say it's going to take 3 to 5 minutes for my hands to turn on. Now it's instant. When I hold my palms up, if I'm thinking of, whatever, like, okay, I want this to activate, it activates now. And that just started during the full moon activation this month. But we're going to be able to heal with our palms. We're going to be able to blow back the enemy's camp with fireballs coming out of our palms. We're also going to be able to supernaturally fly. I believe that we're also going to have telepathic abilities to communicate with each other. Search and rescue. Okay, but there's very few of us. Scripture says, thousands shall fall at our side, 10,000 at our what? Right hand, the palm of our hand. Okay, thousands shall fall at our side, but none shall come near us. 10,000 at our right hand. This symbolizes the pillars. There's 4 pillars that hold up the earth. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're gathered in the opening, okay? So I'll keep going now. Going into the sun again. The masquerade ball. We are the best of the best. You warrior angels, you are top dog. We are maverick. We can't be controlled. We don't fit in. We are free spirits about to soar. Right here symbolizes who has been stalking me my entire life. I've talked about it so many times. Always men, armies of this earth, and Freemasons, enforcers of the satanic law, the law enforcement, and the military have been stalking me my whole life. They have stolen cars from me. They stole my boat. It was also where I lived because I was banned from working, blacklisted from renting anything, and I had nowhere to go. And Father said, get a boat. It was all the money I had. It was just an old rinky-dink sailboat that they stole. The military stole my little tiny boat that leaked. I would have to bail water out of it when it rained, but it was somewhere that I could lay my head. I love that thing, and they stole it. That's how much of a threat we are to the satanic kingdom. And they always drive around in black SUVs. My whole life. They park outside. They block my door. They cross my path at every intersection. Okay? This is all showing who we're actually battling. I've told you, a lot of these creatures that drive these vehicles are high-ranking fallen angels and demons in human form. So this is very funny that of all the vehicles they've got in this scene, it's that. And here is a fallen angel in human form. See this? See the swirl here? That is like the swirl, the spiral, okay? The spiral going up. Also, the red planet, how it's got a tail, and then when the dragon was cast down in Scripture, then the tail breaks off. That's what just happened to Three Eye Atlas. Remember, they said it looks like it's red? That's the red Kachina. The Hopi Native Americans talked about this, and I've talked about this for 8 or 9 years on here now. And then when it broke off, it became green, and now it's blue. The blue star, the blue Kachina. But the swirl right here, that's what it symbolized. It looked like a tail. Let me see if I can do it again. Let me slow it down so y'all can see that, because I just caught that. This is only like my third time to see it. My third time to see it. Okay, now let's go back. The satanic star, right? Seen this in multiple dreams. I've talked about this. This is going to take place. Multiple dreams, but the most vivid of the dreams is, I described it as an aircraft carrier off Top Gun. And this was way before this movie came out, but it was in Top Gun. And I saw it in several dreams. And it was invasion from within by our own troops. Okay, but there was Muslims and I think it was Russians. I did not see Chinese on this boat, but I know definitely Muslims were giving the order. They were dressed as the armies of this earth, okay? The military. They were dressed in fatigues. They were about to pull up onto land, and they were carrying tankers, okay, army tankers. And people were clapping. They were standing by the shore, and they thought it was part of just a mock, not exercise, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like a mock performance for something that was being celebrated for either our military, like for Veterans Day, for Memorial Day, possibly 4th of July, but I didn't get that vibe it was 4th of July for some reason. Could have been, remembering 101, something like that. But it was there for some sort of a performance of something that was going on. It could even been in honor of World War II veterans or something like that. But I already knew it was not good. And I could supernaturally hear what they were saying. And before I heard what the leaders on board of this vessel were saying, I yelled to the crowd, "Run, we're being invaded." And people were laughing at me. Looney Lena's at it again. And I said, "Run, we're being invaded." And right then, they started shooting people's. I saw one speedboat blown up, one sailboat, and then another, boat, like people out having fun on their personal boats. They weren't in military. They were just regular Joes and Joannes is what I call them, right? That's when people realized the tankers that they thought were just fake, not fake, but they didn't work anymore, old-timey looking tankers, actually worked. And it's what Father told me was going to be a Trojan horse surprise. How in Roman days they pushed in that Trojan horse right inside the gates and then popped out. Oh, snap! The bush Nazis popping out of the bushes, right? And attacked. That's happening. Inside, we have been invaded from within. Again, been warning of this for at least 5 or 6 years now, maybe longer. So that happens. And then when they start shooting, people start running, and I'm able to calmly guide them, and I knew where to go. And there's a rock wall that I saw, which could be symbolic, because it looked like the wall in Jerusalem and the Wailing Wall. And I was able to hide people on the other side of the wall, while I could telepathically hear the Muslim leader dressed in the United States, the Satanic States of America army gear, to round up all the dissidents and make an example out of them. And I'm sorry, this is gruesome. I didn't have to see it in the dream. The Lord, if it's the Lord speaking to me in dreams, I won't ever see anything gruesome, but I'll hear what they're going to do. He spares me from seeing it. And he said, round up all the dissidents and gouge their eyes out and put them on a stake. So it kind of reminded me of how in biblical days they would behead people and carry the heads on stake. That was actually what I remember. But it was an invasion from within, and this is what I saw. So it's interesting. It's in this video, the final countdown. Now we're being lifted up. So we were on the ship here. When I saw that, I got, oh, thank you, Father, the ship. Wow. That's like our angelic army being transported, the ship, Ezekiel's wheels, chariots of fire. When we walked up onto this platform inside the ship, overlooking this window. Okay, we're down here. We're not up on deck. So we're on, wow, I get it. Thank you, Father. Live on Jesus TV. I just got another download. The water symbolizes the firmament. So we're going up. After we get our what? Our wings, our activation, our light body that I saw, a small group of about 15 of us being transformed. Notice it's winter, okay? Pray that your flight not be in winter. But I believe it's going to be in winter. It so I don't get hopefully I don't get a copyright. To those about to run, I salute you. Headed for Venus, going up. Okay, right here, it says knots. See it? Did y'all see that? It says knots. Hopefully y'all can see it. Y'all can go back and watch this video. What does knots mean? Knot. Of course, people would think, you're tied in knots. Okay? A bond of association or union, as in the nuptial, the marriage knot, tying the knot. We're being guided to be married to Yeshua, Jesus Christ, connected to Jesus Christ, our union, our association, our bond, okay? The wedding supper. Where does it stop on? Let me speed this down. Take it on down a notch. Hold on. I got to speed this way down. It stops right there. Okay, so if this is 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5 would be right here. This is almost 6. Why is that important? Because it's in between 2025 and 2026, almost 2026. Then right here, I forgot about this too. It's got an X on it. See? An X, knots. X marks the spot. For me, I'm Gen X, right? They wanted to X us out. We have been stuck in between realms, basically. We're somewhat in the third dimension realm because we remember the old ways and the new ways. If you're over about 40, maybe even 35, but 40, 45, and definitely anyone that's Gen X, you're going to be like me. You remember the old ways, you long for the old ways, but you also know the new ways because we were around, we grew up before the internet, the web of lies that has corrupted man and made everybody basically brainwashed to stare at their phone, stare at their screen, stare at their TV. They were raised by the television. They were raised by the internet, web of lies. They were raised by the cell phone, stealing their cellular, harming them at a cellular level is what I mean to say. Hold on. X'd out, but it also symbolizes, okay, remember how Elon Musk, the muskrat, named his son X something? It's mocking, okay? If you turn X, well, I'm not going to do it, but if you turn X sideways, it's a cross, the crossing. We go up through a crossing in the sky through a portal. The sun is a portal. Just amazing. Okay, let me speed it on up again. Look, y'all. Look. Wow, that's the same thing again. That's how that swirl came down. That's how the tail of the dragon that was cast down looks, okay? The planet with wings that the Native Americans knew about. Sorry, I have to do that so they hopefully don't give me a strike. Now this, wow, thank you, Father. I stopped at perfect on here. This is huge for me. So the other two things aren't as, impressive. Yeah, there's probably many things that you could look out of a portal window like that. And isn't that funny? In a ship, in a boat, like even my boat. And by the way, the name of my boat, I've said this many times. When I got it, I'm like, Lord, is this you? Because I'm like, what am I supposed to do, Lord? I don't have any money. I can't get approved anywhere. I can't get work or anything. And Father said, get a boat. And the girl went down on the boat. I knew it was the Lord. $500, which is all the money I had. And it was a very cheap boat, sailboat, okay? It was nothing living large. And like I said, I would bail water out of it. Tiny little 27-foot sailboat, which means all you have room for is to walk down 3 little steps from the tiny little deck, and there is a bench which I made into a little bed, and then there's a tiny little area in the back where I put all my clothes and stuff. The bathroom wasn't even hooked up. I was docked in a marina where I would use the bathroom there, and then if I was moored somewhere, then I would have a porta potty. And my dog Beignet, the tiniest target, she was with me. She lived aboard that thing. We fell overboard, y'all. Another funny story. They came and put oil on my deck of my boat, which you have to go down the deck of the boat to get on board, right? They put oil on it one night. And so when I came back on board, I slipped and went overboard. And my dog Beignet was on my shoulder in her little carrier. And I was hanging upside down by what they call a lifeline. You can't get any more symbolic than this. It was like the Lord keeping me by a lifeline. And I couldn't get back up because the lifeline was very sharp. It looks like it protects your boat if you're coming into dock from being slammed into the deck. It looks kind of like barbed wire. So I couldn't pull up. I tried to, and I cut both the palms of my hands, right? How symbolic is this? I'm just remembering this, y'all. And so I had to drop into the water. Yes, there's sharks in the water, and they swarm around the marina because people feed the birds there, and then there's only 4 or 5 other liveaboards there. But of course, we have food on our boat. But the small fish congregate around the the docks. And so there's sharks in there, and I think a shark bumped me on the leg. It was some sort of a big fish. And I don't think it was one of those, with jaws or anything. Or I wouldn't be here. But it was something. And it was dead of night, about 10 at night. There's no way to get back up from the dock, y'all, from the water onto the dock. And to swim in that would have been pretty treacherous, because there's other boats sticking out. There's motors sticking out. There's not much room to swim in there. It's like a canal thing. And then, even if I would have made it to shore, this happened in Florida, I would have had to crawl up the side of the straight up wall. It's like, how would I get up? I believe this was one of many times an angel has come to rescue me. So I'm paddling with one hand, and I've got my dog. I'm holding my dog up because I thought, if that's a shark, I don't want to eat my little 4-pound dog, right? So I'm literally paddling with one hand, and I'm holding my dog up out of the water, and I'm yelling, help! And there's nobody out there. The other liveaboard was not really a liveaboard. It was a military commander of this army on this planet, not our army, that was sent there to try to take me out. And once he got there, about a week later, it really got bad. And I believe that it was him, along with some other military, that ended up stealing my boat while I was gone. Yeah, they stole a little rinky-dink boat. But anyway, getting back to this, I'm yelling help while I'm paddling with one hand, and all I see is this hand come up from the deck. They didn't say anything, y'all. And the hand, okay, I'm tall, and I weigh about 130 something, okay? And I'm tall. How could a person with one hand pick me up out of the water? The tide was down. The tide is high, so we're moving. The tide was down. I'm going to say it was at least 3 to 5 feet, because I skipped that class, below the deck. Below the dock, where the deck was. That this hand, and it was an arm is what it was with a hand, right? That's all I saw come out and reach down. And I said, take my dog first. Take my dog first. No words were spoken by whoever this was. Okay, this is amazing. And I knew they were there to help as they're reaching their hand down. So I gave them my dog, who was in a carrier. They pull her up. Then they pull me up with one hand. They didn't use another hand, y'all. This really happened to me. And pulled me up out of the water. And I didn't look up at first, because I thought I was going to be able to talk to the person and, say, thank you so much for coming or whatever. How'd you get here so quick? And I looked down at my dog first, unzipped the carrier and make sure she's okay. And she's just sitting there like, what's up, Mom? She didn't even get wet. She's just chilling in their carrier. And then I look up to thank the person, or so I think. They're gone. They were gone. Even if the person would have run, I would have heard them running down a dock. Even if I wouldn't have heard them run, they would have had to run down a dock and then turn and go either and jump on board the next boat that quick in less than 5 seconds, or run out and go down and get out the entryway, which was gated. There's no way they could have got away that quick. It was an angel. Anyway, that was amazing. I don't know what. Oh, because the name of my boat. Why don't you just tell me the name of the boat? When I asked Father, is this really you, Lord? This is all the money I have, and I don't know how I'm going to get any more money. This is before I ever started YouBoob. He said, why don't you ask the name of the boat? And it's been funny, because that's been one of my jokes through this whole 9 years on YouBoob. Why don't you just tell me the name of the movie? Off Kramer. And I started saying, why don't you just tell me the name of the boat? And the person that I bought the boat from said, go look. It's painted on the back of the boat. Amazing Grace, y'all. That was the name of my boat. I love that little sailboat. So that was Father. That's how he works. He gives us signs. But I believe that that was one of our angels that was protecting me. Anyway, getting back to this. This dream was very vivid. So the first two dreams that I talked about making this video just now, about looking out that giant portal. Oh, that's why I brought up the boat, because there was portals on board boats, right? What is a boat? It's a ship. Our ship has come in. Our chariots of fire. They're over our heads. That is our angelic teammates here. Rescue mission. And we've been sent here, boots on the ground recon, to save the last souls that are going to escape the 3D matrix, and some that are actual wicked, that are fallen angels and demons, they're going into the pit. And then some that don't want to sin, that chose to believe the lie rather than the truth, are mockers and scoffers, oh my, that may still be human, they're going to be locked in the third dimension. Okay, but we're ascending. Some are going up past the fifth. You could be going to the 6th, 7th, 8th, 12th dimension. So anyway, we're connected with Yeshua's planet, the guiding light, guiding us home, the blue star, the blue Kachina. 3-eye Atlas is here to help us. But those first two dreams that I had that I talked about in this video, so the portal where we get our light bodies on board that ship that I talked about, and then the aircraft carrier that I talked about, that was invasion from within, those aren't as big of a deal because you might see those, But this is huge. I've never seen any pictures with this. I even tried to find it to put it when I was talking about this after I got the dream, which I'm going to say was in the last 3 years, possibly 4 years ago. This dream was very, very vivid. Some of y'all might remember it. And I couldn't find anything that looked like it. I saw this exactly like this. Exactly. I saw the same bridge. It was made out of concrete with the pillars on it. How many pillars is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's probably 12 pillars because you can't see the other two over here on either side. I would bet you anything there's 12. 12 tribes of Israel, right? The 12 disciples. But I saw it. It was snowing. There was these, I even tried to describe the trees. I said, I don't know what they were. They look like Christmas trees. These are the trees I saw surrounded by mountains. And we, as me and the rest of my team of warrior angels, and there was a group of about no more than 15, I'm going to say 10 to 15 of us, and we were running. We were running towards the bridge. And Star Trek, which I only watched a handful of times, I didn't really like that, but Star Trek, bones to the bridge, right? That popped up in my head when I was trying to recall this dream. Okay, so we're running towards the bridge, and there's one person that's an infiltrator. Like Judas, it's an infiltrator. It was a woman. She was kind of pretty. She had blonde hair, light blonde, long hair. She was thin. I don't think she was super tall. I know she was shorter than me, but I'm going to say she wasn't super short either. Anywhere between 5'3" or 4 to 5'5" maybe. And she was the infiltrator. And as we're running to get to this bridge, she had told our location. That's why we have to have discernment of character, because there are so many infiltrators on YouTube masquerading as targeted individuals. And they've popped up since the scamdemic. And they've got millions of views. They got tons of donations. Do y'all know how many donations I get? I get one donation a month from the same person, $100. And I thank you, sister, for helping me. Even when I've asked, nothing comes in. We're blocked. Everything is blocked from us having anything. They want us out in the cold, literally. They tried to freeze me last year. Do y'all remember that? I slept outside with no coat, no jacket, no suit for me, no blanket, no hat, no gloves for a week. And it was freezing. It was below freezing. Not all 7 of the nights, but I'm going to say 4 or 5 of the nights. And somehow or another, I'm still here. The Lord still protected me. They threw wine bottles at me when I was hiding behind a dumpster, trying to get out of the wind. I had a security guard kick me out of a stairwell in a parking garage to try to brace from the wind. I had a cop scream at me when I was in a bathroom in a hotel, again, getting some water out of the sink, and he came in. I was totally being hunted by these monsters, okay, masquerading as people. These were not human beings. A human being wouldn't act like that. These are demons and fallen angels. But the whole point is, I'm not saying woe is me. I'm saying, how did I survive that? I'll tell you how. The Lord will give us an internal heater, heated from within. That's even funny because reptoids are warm-blooded. So what does that mean? I mean, they're cold-blooded. So what does that mean? It means they're cold as ice. Oh, snap. Rick James, cold as ice. You're as cold as ice, willing to sacrifice our love, right? They don't care about love. They don't care about others. They're reptoids, Sleestak. Reptilians, creatures that have no love, they're cold-blooded. That's what they're called. And used to, I thought that meant they do really well in the cold. No, it's the opposite. In Key West, where I lived for several years, when it gets cold enough there, and it doesn't even have to be freezing, but cold, I'm going to say maybe 50s, maybe 40s, which it doesn't do very often. The reptoids, the Sleestak, there's lots of iguanas around there. They will fall out of the trees. They're like big lizards, right? Fall out of the trees and they'll freeze because they are cold-blooded, meaning they need to be in warmth. They need to be around warmth. But those that are the Most High gods, that are created in His image, we're warm-blooded, meaning we do better in the warm. That's why a lot of us are in the southern areas, or there's some of the Most Highs are in the cold. I'm not saying that if you're in the cold areas like Michigan and stuff, you're not one of the Most Highs. I don't mean that. But we seem to do better in the south, in the southern areas, right? Because we're warm-blooded. What does that mean? It means we have kind hearts. But I believe that what Father is showing me right now as I'm talking about this is that we're going to be supernaturally protected from cold elements if we're stuck out like I was, that actually He protected me. There is no explanation how I did not get frostbite. Now, when I finally did get back inside after 1 week, no one would help me. They wouldn't even give me a bottle of water. I had no money or anything, y'all. Some of y'all remember this. I could not stop shaking for about a day and a half. I shook and shook and shook, and then finally it went away. And I didn't get frostbite, no ill effects, no remaining effects. But could that have been part of my activation to be able to withstand the colder elements? I don't know. But it's very interesting because no way should I have been able to do that. I didn't have a coat, y'all. I didn't have a hat. I didn't have gloves. I didn't have a blanket. It rained on me some of the time. It was freezing cold wind. It was a below freezing for about 5 of the 7 days that I was outside. How is that possible that I survived? I'll tell you how. The Most High God's protection. So I believe He'll activate us and we'll be actual heaters. We'll be able to heat ourselves from within. So that's pretty amazing. And the reptoids won't be able to stand it. But I saw this bridge. So now I'll go ahead with the dream and I won't keep talking about all the details of things that Father's reminded me, because I'm having a lot of memories that I didn't think about for years and years are all come flooding back, and they're all showing who we are, whose we are, and our mission. So if you're remembering these things, like the person told me, they're trying to clip your wings, that's part of your calling. People called you an angel, things like that. Now, probably over the last 7 or 8 years, they haven't done that anymore because we're so close to the end that people have been taken over by the dark side. But back in the day, we'll just say. Anyway, so we're running. There's about 15 of us, but the one woman, she's younger than me. I knew that. I'm going to say she was in maybe her mid-30s, or maybe she just looked really good and she could have been in her 40s. But I do know that she had light blonde hair, almost platinum. It was long, but not, it was like past her shoulders a little bit. She was thin and between maybe 5'3" and 5'5". And yes, I could recognize her in a lineup, standing in the line. She was the infiltrator. She told our whereabouts, and we're all running, and it's snowing, and we go past these trees, and we're in between the mountains, and we're going underneath this bridge where there is food that is in boxes that someone has placed there for us, okay? And I'm very aware that we're in the final battle, Armageddon, okay, the end war, the spiritual war. As we're running because there are fighter jets. They look like fighter jets, like Top Gun just showed, right? That are shooting at us. They're not for us. They are the enemy's camp. And it could be our own military, okay? Working for who? The prince of the air, Satan. So they're shooting at us. They miss all of us, the other maybe 10 to 14 of us, but they hit the one girl, the infiltrator. When they hit her on the left hand, again with the hand, the top of her hand. And when we get under the bridge, we're checking, and it was me and a man. And it's like, I guess we were like the two that were in charge. Or maybe not, maybe it was just one of us, but we were the most concerned, it seemed like, about the girl that got hit. And I said, let me see your palm or something like, or let me see your hand or something like that. We're looking at it, or maybe it was telepathic. I'm like, what happened to her hand? And on her hand, it looked like she had been branded with a star. Not a good sign, okay? Like a satanic star. And it welted up over her hand, and it looked like a huge, like those cattle probes. That's what it looked like it did on her hand. And then at that point, I look on the other side. We're in the middle of the bridge, and I look, and there's another woman, and they're witches. Then I'm aware, I'm like downloaded while this is taking place, that these are witches that infiltrated through this girl that pretended to be one of us. And she called a couple more witches that were there to do some sort of wickedness, do some sort of cursing, sabotage, whatever they're trying to do. And the other witch was calling, and it looked like it was some sort of a handheld radio. A walkie-talkie. Thank you, Father. That's what it was. It was a walkie-talkie, y'all. So maybe the cell phones didn't work. And she was like calling for backup. And this witch was also maybe mid-30s, around the same age as the other one. She was also thin. I don't know exactly how tall she was, but she was thin. And she had long, dark black hair. I think she had bangs or side swept bangs or something. She was very, very wicked. I knew that. And then I said something about we were infiltrated, or I'm not sure if I telepathically said that or whatever. Then I look, and some people that had turned into zombies were trying to steal the food. So they had called in these witches, and the infiltrator had called in these zombies to come get the food. So I'm thinking that everything's been closed, everything's locked down, and there's no food. No soup for us. And as I go to grab an item of food, it was an Oriental-looking woman, and I think there was a Spanish woman there too. And the Oriental woman looked like she was in her 50s maybe, and she was short, and she was very overweight, so she wasn't starving. Tried to bite my hand, my right hand, as I went to grab the food, which was there for us. It was specifically, we knew exactly where it was. It was left for us to survive, I guess. Like how Father supernaturally gave manna in heaven, right, to the Israelites in what? The wilderness. And as she went to grab my hand, I was able to pull my hand back real quick, and then somehow I was able to blow her back. And so I guess it was with my palms, like I said, supernaturally. And I did not get hurt or bit. But this is what I saw. It was very vivid, and we were in a battle in the very end, okay? And there was jet fighters trying to hit us. This is the exact scene I saw in my dream. There's no way that I saw this and then I had the dream, because this dream was at least 4 or 5 years ago. And this movie just came out, Top Gun Maverick. So I'm going to continue. Ace, right? Phoenix rising from the ashes. You see what the other one was? I can't tell what he... Wingman. And then the other fighter pilot, I slowed this down to try to see what it says. I won't keep doing that because it'll be annoying. But there's another fighter pilot in this that's called his name, his call name on his helmet, on his vehicle, his MiG is his jet fighter MiG is called Payback, and that's what we're doing. It's payback for what the fallen angels did to humanity. We are going to kick their aces, y'all. Ace, get it? They're aces. Y'all saw it. I already stopped on that, or this will be too long. But it shows cards. We're kicking their aces. I have said ace instead of ASS since I was in my 20s. I've been saying that, y'all. Okay? So anyway, this is 305. See that on the mid? And look at that. I just caught that too. I've only watched this like 3 times. What's he doing? The satanic horns, right? 305. Do y'all see that? If you watch this video, you can see it pretty good. So I looked up 305. Well, what do you know? 305 in Strong's, to go up, to ascend, to rise. And look at this. We're on the blue bus, the blue star, the blue Kachina. Wow. It's just amazing. Thumbs up. All systems go for liftoff. Going through the bridge, the gate, the portal. Going up over the firmament, right? The pillars holding up the earth. Payback. Y'all saw it? This is payback. What we're here to do is payback for what the fallen angels did to humanity and their demons. And Lucy. There they are again. Here's another one. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Together. All aboard? Okay, and this is the final thing Father has showed me over and over. I've been talking about this for at least 8 years. 8 years on here. When we go up, the fireballs come down. And we go up through a crossing in the sky through the sun, which is a portal. The fireballs are the fallen angels. People are going to be seeing more and more meteors, so they say, coming down. These are the fallen being cast down to the earth. So get ready, get ready, get ready. You are being deployed for your mission, arcs and angels, warrior angels on this planet, Janet. Get ready.